Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Mr. Holipsism. Coming at you early in the morning because I just got up. I worked the overnight shift, so I had the last 2 nights off, and it throws your schedule off in terms of sleeping. So that's why I'm making this video now. Had something on my mind, and I've been watching YouTube lately and just seeing a slew of videos, mostly based around relationships. So I've been watching a lot of videos from sisters, a lot of videos from brothers, and basically, you know, looking as a objective viewer in this ongoing, relationship war between black men and black women. And when I see that something is prevalent and something is an issue or something that is constantly being brought up, I try to find what is really happening or what is the dynamic that's causing this thing to take place. So what I've narrowed it down to, and I could be wrong, but hey, I'm just giving my analysis. I'm no freaking rocket scientist, so I have an opinion just like everyone else. It seems, or it would appear to me, that the issue is the condition that we're in currently, how we interact with each other, what our attitudes, our behaviors, our philosophies, our values, our principles, and all of this stuff. That seems to be under fire. Like everybody, I think both the men who bash black women and the black women who bash black men can both agree that whatever the current state of our consciousness is unacceptable. So I think both of them agree on that end. The difference is each side is looking for someone to blame for that condition. Now, there's something that I wanted to touch on because it's two dynamics going on. First is a cultural critique. Now, if anybody's listened to my channel, they know that I'm big on cultural critique. I critique our culture all the time. I challenge our belief systems, I challenge our philosophies, and I challenge our strategies and our tactics. Now, in my opinion, the stuff that I talk about does not require any genius on my part. I think that if anybody actually sat down and thought about it and looked at things from a common sense perspective, they would come to the same conclusions that I've come to. And I find that to be the case. Like most of the people that I interact with and that come to my channel and that I've talked to have people who've been through similar experiences, or they've racked their brains about this mess that we're in and how we got in it and how we can get out of it. So I don't think that I'm brilliant. I don't think that I'm any more insightful than anyone else out there. And I don't think my opinions are any more valuable than anyone else out there. I think that as a black people in America, your experiences and you just having been here and having to deal with the BS that we have to go through gives you the right to open up your mouth and express how you feel on any issue. My thing is I've picked a side. I'm on the black folk side. So the spirit in which I critique is from a spirit of love for my people. So I have what I phrase, and I got this phrase from Dale Jones, rest in peace, from Philadelphia: criticism with affection. My critique is not to break you down. My critique is to point out the faulty flaw in the way that you're seeing things and the way you're doing things, and then hopefully provide an alternative so that you can come out of that, and so we can be a functional family. You have the other critique where is to break you down. If a black woman is talking about black men, it's to completely break black men down to the lowest degree, and then there's no corrective. There's no build up. There's no, and I'm not talking about corrective from a European perspective, but correction from an African perspective. Like if you break someone down, what are you going to do to build them up? And I'll take it outside of the framework of what we're talking about now, and I'll use, the industry that I'm in, which is film. If I write a screenplay and I want to get critiqued on my screenplay, I don't want someone to give me critique like, well, that sucks. Okay, it sucks. Can you give me an alternative way to do it so that it doesn't suck? Then you get crickets and silence. That's not critique. And people like that shouldn't be critiquing anything, because your function is not to help. The function of critique is to make whatever it is that you're critiquing better. Like, why are you critiquing it in the first place? You're saying, well, if you're critiquing somebody, the way that somebody swings a baseball bat, you don't go, man, you can't swing, man. Damn, you suck. Well, that's not critique. Tell him technically what he's doing. Yo, your shoulder's too far up. Maybe you should drop it down a little. Maybe you should adjust the way. These are critiques. I'm not sensing that in a lot of these videos that I'm listening to. What I'm sensing is a lot of people trying to get some stuff off their chest because they got some issues against black men, and some people trying to get some stuff off their chest because they got some issues with black women. And 90% of the time, it's by brothers and sisters who, by African standards, ain't that hot. So they got dissed by either some fine members of the opposite sex, or they can't get the members of the opposite sex that they want to attract. They can't attract those members. So their response is, you know what, I'm going to tear your ass up every chance I get on YouTube. And this is on both sides, both men and women. It is not particularly deep or profound to give a list or a laundry list of all the things that's wrong in the black African community. It doesn't take you being more intelligent than anybody. It doesn't make you a truth teller. It's just basically self-hate. I mean, if you're not coming from a corrective perspective, and if it's not something systematically that you see is wrong and it can be corrected, then what is it for? It's just to denigrate people because you want to knock them off this pedestal that you put them on. They didn't even put themselves there. You did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't see. I'm gonna give an example. Everybody wondered why I went so hard at Bill Cosby when he did his rant. They said, well, even people, it was shocking to me that even people that I considered black African centered was co-signing Bill Cosby. And to put it short, I consider what Bill Cosby did cowardly. Because by all indications, well, I ain't going to go there. I'm not going to engage in conspiracy theory. Let me just say this. It's easy to pick on the weak and the powerless. Easy. When I look at the condition of my black African people, and I look on the lower economic rung, and I see the behavior, like we have a lot of these sites talking about hot mess and all of the stuff that, and it's mostly lower class or lower echelon blacks, people in the urban communities and stuff like that. So they put these sites up and they make fun of the way that they dress and the way that they behave and the things that they do, and they say, oh, this is so ghetto.com, and I'm making this shit. I don't know if that's a site. I'm just saying hotmess.com or whatever. When I look at those things, like there was, a picture, a video of a little girl twerking. She couldn't have been no more than 2 or 3. And she was twerking and the family's back laughing. I don't look at that and go and use that as a representative of our entire black African nation. And when I look at it, it's through the eyes of sadness. I don't even get angry. I get sad. I actually feel like tears welling up when I see stuff like that because our ignorance. We suffer because of our ignorance. And what I feel is I don't feel that these people are innately ignorant. I don't feel that these people came out of the womb ignorant. I feel that these people are caught up in a systematic cycle of ignorance. The Negro manufacturing machine that I always refer to so much. So when the Negro manufacturing machine manufactures Negroes, why is everybody upset? Why is everybody, flipping out? I don't get it. So my thing is, let's manufacture strong black African people. Let's develop a system that will pump out and manufacture that as the norm instead of a system that we currently engage in that pumps out and manufactures Negroes. And this has been my thing since I got on YouTube. So the bottom line is, and this is a term that I've used before, it's everybody's fault in general and nobody's fault specifically. So because the whole thing about the black man, black woman war, relationship wars, is looking for someone to place the blame on why we are in the shape that we are in. Well, shit. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? It's like that conversation. We're going to engage in that lunacy, trying to detect, well, did the black man start it? Did the black woman start it? We are in a system under the socioeconomic and political domination of Western Europeans. And unless you are including in your analysis that reality, then what the fuck am I listening to you for? It's stupid. It's like in the Vietnamese war. You got a Vietnamese soldier in the middle of a war with an occupying force in his country, and he's in a foxhole talking about, damn man, these Vietnamese women. I don't know they're just so hard. They're just, they're just not as soft as American women are. They need to, Vietnamese women need to take a lesson from these American women. Or a Vietnamese woman talk about, oh my God, I wish that my Vietnamese men were more romantic. Why can't they be romantic as American men? And this conversation is taking place in a fucking foxhole. Why? Because you're engaged in a war. So when you're in the middle of warfare, does it make sense to think that you should have the same privileges or experience the same things as a free person in free time, in peacetime? Listen, bottom line, our people are messed up, man. We're in a messed up situation. Our nation has been destroyed, basically. And we're just a bunch of scattered individuals, aligned by aesthetic similarities. That's our nation now. It's an ad hoc nation. People look at us as a group of people because we look the same. But in terms of socioeconomic and political power or infrastructure, we don't have a nation. So if you're going to critique the way that black men act, if you're going to critique the way that black women act, then you have to critique it within the context of the situation in which we're living in. And if you want that situation or that behavior to change, then you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the breakdown. And I've said the breakdown many times, and I'll say it one more time. The land produces the culture. The culture produces the family produces the individual, and the individual produces the behavior. So if you got a problem with the behavior, then you got to start at the top. You can't start at step 3 or step 4. Start at the top and see the breakdown and see where the problem occurs. And once you fix that problem, then you will see that everything that trickles down from there will be functional. because you will address the problem at the root instead of trying to address the behavior and cut off the other steps. That's just basic common sense to me. And that's all I really have to say on that. It's everybody's fault in general, nobody's fault specifically. It's not even entirely the white man's fault because it's a relationship. So when people say, well, is the reason why we're in the condition we're in our fault or white folks' fault? It's a red hair. It's a false question because it's both. That's like if you're in a marriage and you got a divorce, is it your wife's fault or is it your fault? It was both of your fault. That's what mature people think, and that's how mature people act. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this, and I'll holler at you good people later. Peace.